welcome to another episode of Playing Telephone. I'm Scarlett Sanchez.
I'm Dennis Kluba.
How are you?
I'm good. I've had my own heck of a weekend, but really all we want to know about is this is the Coachella episode, Coachella Week 1 episode, and Scarlett, our very own co-host, was there.
Yeah, I was there, drove out to Indio and Thursday night and was there for all 3 days, and it was fantastic.
How many times have you been?
That was my third time.
Okay. Experience.
Yeah.
Of the 3 times.
Oh, good question. The year when I saw Post Malone was my favorite. Okay. I think that was 2016.
Okay.
That was really good. And this year I wasn't super pumped for the lineup, to be honest. Like, I'm not the biggest Frank Ocean fan, not the biggest Blackpink fan either, but I am a massive Bad Bunny fan. So I was like, okay, I'll go for Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, tickets to go to concerts are so expensive these days too. It's like, just to see Bad Bunny alone, I could have spent upwards of $400 to $700.
Yeah.
Yes, Coachella can definitely get up there too, but
it's kind of worth it.
It's a whole experience. You get to see so many people, good food, good atmosphere. You get a little weekend away in like either Palm Springs, the desert area.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Before we get into the acts, one question that I had was, as far as people go, do you feel like it is mainly like other normal people, or is it really annoying? Like, people kind of make it out to be like influencer culture. People are just like taking, like, they're not like real people. They're not like into the music. They're like,
I think nowadays everyone is kind of into getting a gram. So like, obviously everyone's taking photos at different points. Phones are out during different sets. But it wasn't to a point where I was like, can people please like chill out? Like, you could definitely see like people would put up their phone for a little 10-second down.
Yeah.
Which is what I did.
Respectful.
Too.
Normal. Yeah. Okay.
Because sometimes I'm always wondering, like, how often am I going to go back and watch these videos of people performing?
Never.
I almost never do. Except for like on the drive home. Like, I was going through some things.
Yeah.
Got a little sad at work today, so started watching some videos too. Bring me back.
Okay, so let's get into first day 1.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny performing, headlining. Pretty much what everybody saw, I feel like, was it good?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good performer. He brought up Post Malone, which that was a lot of the talk. Post Malone was obviously supposed to sing there. It was his guest, but they were having technical issues. His mic wasn't working.
Yeah.
And they ended up not doing anything.
Just wasn't hitting. Yeah. And he was just like, hey, like, I gotta go. Or like,
yeah. They cracked a few jokes. He was like, why am I even here? And he was like, well, you paid me to be here. So whatever. They had a little bit of banter. I don't know. That I could hear though. So I don't know why the mic suddenly stopped working.
Yeah.
So that was really frustrating. And honestly, I started thinking about it. I was like, wow, Post Malone, when I saw him at Coachella, was like the first time I feel like I fell in love with his music. So I was like full like circle. I was super excited. And then he ended up it was funny though. He just sat there and watched Bad Bunny for the rest of the performance. Didn't get off the stage.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, and like Bad Bunny came on at a normal time and did like a full set.
Normal time. He was there maybe 5 minutes late, but on time. That's on time for most artists. Yeah. The crowd was great. Like, it was cool to see, obviously, a lot of people who spoke Spanish, but also there was a lot of diversity still in the crowd where, you know, maybe you didn't speak Spanish, but you're still singing every single lyrics to the songs. I was like, cool. His fan base, definitely people pulled through.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really sure how that was going to be. But it was really good.
And then you said day 2, the biggest one was basically Calvin Harris that you said.
Day 2, Blackpink I did end up going to, headliner. They were really good. Surprised me.
Better than you were expecting.
Better than I was expecting, for sure. And then Calvin Harris is obviously a really good.
Yeah.
You have to go see him. Personally, I think so. Obviously, people have all different takes on who to see and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good.
I feel like, too, he doesn't like tour a lot. So like going to those big kind of festivals is where you're going to be able to actually see him.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost like he's like a subtle, like, got to go see that set whenever he performs.
Right. And he brought out Ellie Goulding.
Awesome. Yeah. To close it, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Before Bad Bunny, though, real quick to day 1, Metro Boomin brought out a bunch of people.
Right.
John Legend, Future, ended up bringing out Diddy. But then it's hard. The hardest thing about Coachella is you have to decide, like, do I stay here and possibly see all these other people? Because I thought maybe he'd bring out Drake. And then I was thinking he was going to bring out 21 Savage, which I think he did. I wasn't there for it, though. But Bad Bunny was about to start. And I was like, I want a good spot for Bad Bunny. So you kind of have to make a sacrifice and go.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Also, shout out Metro Boomin, St. Louis. But then also, okay, so on to kind of the controversy of day 3, which I feel like is the only thing that anyone's talking about after day 1 and 2 happened, which was just kind of how horrendous the Frank Ocean set and debacle was, right?
I think Sunday was the day that I was least looking forward to. Ray Shermer was the best thing of the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, okay, we'll get into who was watching it there, but you go.
That was just insanity. Like when you talk about the crowd, just everyone was dancing. Like, yeah, we were looking at the stage at some points and people would just like turn and like dancing with everyone. I think that one had the best what's another word? Environment.
Vibe.
It was like just a huge fat party, honestly.
That's awesome.
And it was earlier in the day. I kind of thought with how many bangers he has back to back, like he'd be later in the day, but he was around like 4:35, which was fine. He basically started my day. Saw Boogie with the hoodie. He was okay. He brought out Future, which was the best part. Saw a little bit of Chris Lake and Fisher. They were good. Did some exploring. Ended up at the Heineken tent. Went to the Do Lab for a little bit.
Okay.
Went to this other like sound room. I'd never heard of it. Apparently it's supposed to give you like the perfect pitch of sound. I was like, okay.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what this is. But it felt like I was at a disco party because there was just this big disco ball. Okay. So it was like we were at Little Friend.
Yeah. God. Just disco balls in LA, all over everywhere.
And then it was Frank Ocean, which, like I said, I wasn't really a big fan, but he hadn't really performed in 6 years.
6 years.
So I'm probably never going to go see Frank Ocean again. Yeah. So I had to go. Waited, kept waiting, and an hour goes by, and finally he comes out. And even when he comes out, the first thing you see is just people marching.
Yeah.
The marching happened for about 10 minutes.
It was like kind of Kanye-esque.
Yeah, but you're not Kanye.
Right. Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
That was already bizarre to me. I was like, okay, I get maybe like a 2-minute entrance of this marching.
Yeah.
For me, it felt like 10 minutes, and it might have felt even longer just because I've been waiting already for an hour.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, get out here. And then he started singing. Yeah, sure, it was okay. I mean, he has that artistic. I mean, you
presence,
like his,
stage presence. Yeah. Kind of emotional, deeper kind of stuff. Yeah.
I don't have emotion. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was good though. But people were really upset though. He didn't play like Thinking About You. He didn't play a lot of his main hits.
Classics. Yeah.
He was doing a lot of like remixes and different stylistic choices too for the songs that he did choose. There was a random DJ set in the middle of it, and I was like, "Is it over?" I've never, at all of the places that I went, I've never seen so many people leaving all throughout it, because then it was also just weird pacing, because he would perform a song for maybe like 10 minutes and then it would stop for almost 10 minutes and then it would go and then it'd stop for 2 minutes. It was never consistently going. So that was also just boring, because it's like you didn't know if it was over or not. And there was at one point even early on where he just dropped the mic and walked out backstage, and I thought he was just going to be done, but then he did come back out. And then he ended up going over a little bit. And then he was just like, all right, guys, over curfew. And then he dipped.
See ya.
Like, he just didn't, I don't know. I really didn't like him because I just felt like he didn't care either.
Yeah.
And it's like people people come to Coachella to see certain people. One of my friends was standing next to someone who said that she'd driven 36 hours and her favorite person that she ever wanted to see was Frank Ocean. She was like crying and she still was super happy to see him, but she was disappointed too.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, because like fans are how you have a career. So when you just kind of give zero regard and don't really care because you're such a talent and you're so cool, it's kind of like, buzz off, man. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I love it.
And I did. I left a little bit early.
Yeah.
Not mad about it.
No shame. The other thing too, like with that and like the technical issues that Bad Bunny had with Post Malone, and then everything was going on with Frank Ocean, stuff like that. I mean, there's a reason that there's Coachella Weekend too. So the questions are like, okay, hoping that if he brings out Post Malone again, like, can he figure out, some of the, technical audio issues? But then like, can Frank Ocean pull it together to maybe win back some, fan favoritism after clearly everything on the internet is just like, pretty much negative sentiment.
Yeah, I think everybody except for maybe like Justin Bieber really enjoyed it. Did you see he posted on Instagram and he was like, I love Frank Ocean so much, like he's truly just an artistic vision. And some of the comments were so funny. They were like, oh, so you can defend Frank Ocean but you can't defend your wife.
Oh my god. That's unbelievable. Well, let's just get into who the people were that were there.
Well, really quick though, before we move on from Frank though, the reasonings though of why he was apparently late was because apparently months in advance he talked about how he wanted there to be an ice rink that was built, and there were supposed to be ice skaters that were skating around him, and he changed his mind. Well, option A was he changed his mind, and so they were an hour late because he changed it so last minute that they melted the ice, and then he went on set.
So that's what took so long.
That's what took so long to come out, because they had to completely change everything, which I'm sure they spent a ton of money on. And then the other option was still they had to melt the ice rink but his excuse though was he had injured his ankle in not even at one of the rehearsals though. It was like going around on one of the go-karts at Coachella.
I heard that. Yeah.
Weird. He ended up also getting fined Coachella got fined $117,000 because of him going over curfew too. So I don't think Coachella's happy with him. I don't know if he'll be back for weekend 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be back ever again if he does show up at least for weekend 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely did hear both of those rumors though. One about the ice skating rink and then 2 about this mysterious ankle injury.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think that the biggest thing is that with these kind of artistic, that's the only thing though that is like the only person that I can compare this kind of attitude to really is Kanye pulling out of Coachella. Like last minute last year when who did they get the Weekend replaced? Which
the Weekend's always down.
Yeah, the Weekend's down, which I love. But that's the thing where it's like you said at the beginning, you're not Kanye.
Yeah.
Respectfully. And like even now, whatever. But I'm saying back then, it's like his musical genius and talent. It's like people were pissed about that. Mm-hmm. So you, who hasn't performed in 6 years or put out like new music in 3 years, it's like people are like, I can feel like she's losing fans.
I think so.
So
he did tease an album. He was like, I might be working on something. So maybe he'll make the fans happy with that. Maybe. Just don't ever do a concert again.
Hot take. Frank, if you're listening, no more concerts. But then we're going on to like the people who were there. You mentioned J Beebs right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Okay.
He was there.
There were so many great videos of him candidly from other people's phones.
Yeah.
Like other people that were just there. And he was like into it.
Yeah.
He was at Ray Shrimmer when you like, sorry.
Where were you, Beebs?
Sorry, I didn't want to tell you that.
I know he was at Kid Laroi when I was there because Kid Laroi said something, which so sad though. Everybody totally went hoping that Bieber was going to come out for Stay. And right before he sang Stay, he was like, I just want to give a huge shout out to my mentor. And everyone's like getting close to the stage. Yeah. Like Justin Bieber, like you've always been there for me, man. Da 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 da. And you're right here out here in the crowd. Points down, and everyone's thinking he's going to hop up on stage, and he doesn't.
No.
But then it was honestly really sad because instantly people just started leaving like midway through the song. I was like, come on, respect the kid.
Yeah, seriously. The Kid Laroi also pulled out on a concert that I was supposed to go to. So he was supposed to open for Miley Cyrus and then didn't. So, yeah,
and then I was hoping Miley might come.
That would have been
sick. I would have died.
I wasn't even thinking about her, but yeah.
I was thinking without
I'm kind of surprised that she didn't.
I know, with her new album. Like, where are you?
Honey.
I'm going on her tour. Okay.
You're going on tour with her.
Oh, yeah.
You're opening for her.
I'm joining.
Also, just on that note, if somebody like I'm guessing, like I don't know if you can give us like a play-by-play, but like, was that area where Justin was at like very closed off? Because like if somebody shouts you out, it's like, hey, don't say that I'm in the crowd.
It's not completely. He was probably definitely VIP though.
Okay. Like
where there is a certain section, but no, if I would have been closer, I got to him late. So if I would have been closer, I probably could have seen him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, on those videos, it looked like Bieber was like the happiest I've seen him in 5 years. He's like dancing. People are filming him that are fans, like regular people. And he's like so cool. Up in the camera with them. And I'm just like, and you said this, Haley did post an Instagram and there was a picture of them two together in it. Like it was very cute. Like she looked great. But in all those videos, I just don't see her anywhere. Yeah. It's not that she wasn't there.
There was one video where people were like, again though, fans are concerned because he's leaning over the fence and she's rubbing his back, like, and everyone's like, oh my God, she's consoling him. Is Bieber okay? Like, he's fine, guys. Probably did a little bit too much drugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a little zanned out. He's like getting ready to throw up. Haley's like holding his hair. Yeah. We've all been there. But that wasn't the only like big relationships that was there. Bad Bunny obviously performed first night, but then also, I don't know if it was earlier that day. I feel like it was very early, but there were pictures and videos of Kendall and him.
Yeah.
Not really, I wouldn't say necessarily affectionate, but just standing by each other in whatever VIP section that they, looking at other acts and like enjoying it. And I just feel like for them, like maybe I just feel like it's like they kind of know that everyone's watching. And it's almost a thing where like you don't need to be affectionate. Like I didn't read into it too much.
Or that relationship is just the fakest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that could be too. I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt.
She did go to a set. She was dancing to that. And then, there were photographs. But you're right. I mean, there was maybe one where they kind of were close to the lips. But I don't think I saw anything of them kissing by any means. No. And
they weren't even like holding hands, hugging. It was like literally like the most like you're at a work event. Like, like, okay.
And he addressed it. He addressed... how do you say it when it's like he didn't say her name, but he was just saying like, don't believe everything that comes out of your mouth. Like I have a certain mission that I'm trying to like make happen, and I'm gonna do whatever I need to make sure I do that. It's like Kris Jenner called.
Yeah. Grab somebody's phone.
There was like a TikTok or a rumor where they said that Kris Jenner paid so-and-so millions so that way to hire Bad Bunny, so that way they can get all of the eyes off of Kylie and Haley and the Justin Bieber drama.
That's a far-fetched rumor, but I don't put it out of it's Kris.
Yeah, it's Kris, and we know how that PR team works, like you've said.
Nonstop, day and night. Devil works hard, Kris works harder. But then one of the big ones, which was funny as hell, was we covered this. What was it? I mean, 6 months ago now. This time was Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello, or was it longer than that?
They broke up. Oh my gosh, November 2021.
So it's been
a while.
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Yeah. Yeah.
And like there were all that stuff. Like he's denied rumors of dating like recently Sabrina Carpenter. He's like, no, that's not true. Because they were seen out like in Los Angeles, something like that. She had recently broken up with another person, or like they had a fling and then they kind of like cut it off.
He was some founder of an app, a dating app, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. But the big video that went kind of viral was they just like were not like a peck, but I wouldn't say like a full-fledged makeout either. Like it was kind of like that in between of like...
Yeah, it wasn't Harry Styles and Emrata making out in Tokyo where I could see their tongues.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't just like a kiss on the cheek or like a peck. It was like a
nice long kiss.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of it was kind of like when maybe they were going to different sets or they were like on their way to something.
Yeah.
It was kind of like see you later.
Yeah. Very comfortable with each other.
I kind of was like, we talked about, she put a Instagram caption out later that was like, it's whatever. Mm-hmm. I kind of vibe with that whole, like, just, hey, used to date, smooch, whatever.
Smooch.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like,
and it's whatever.
It's casual, you know? Like,
there were some reports that they've been talking like months leading up to Coachella too.
Okay.
So there could be some rekindling.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, oh, hey, you looked good. I looked good. Smooch, smooch.
They both look good.
They both do look really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, definite possibilities. That whole relationship got so much shit while they're in it because it was like during quarantine and like they're walking around with like empty coffee mugs. Like that kind of felt like a weird thing. But at this instance, that feels more real to me than the Emrata like Harry thing or like it just planned makeouts. That felt very much like hey, like we don't really want to be seen, but.
And this video feels more real to me than like some of the things they would even post when they first started getting together. Like, remember that video that was going viral of her licking his face when he's doing his guitar or whatever? I don't know. Some COVID relationships are a little bit weird.
Yes, for sure. Maybe they're better outside of COVID.
Yeah.
the real world. And then the one that we'll segue this into is Ariana and Sheena were both there. But the one that was kind of making headlines was Ariana with supposedly being affectionate with this new guy who's like a trainer. Dan, I'm blanking on the name. But there were images, pictures, video of them making out arm in arm. He put her on his Instagram story.
Yeah, very comfortable with each other, making out. Wouldn't not. We can't call him a rebound yet because this could have just been a little Coachella fun time, whatever it may
Everybody,
be.
yeah.
But then they drove back together, and they were making out at LAX the other day too.
Now, if we're talking about fun times, LAX makeouts, that's where
like,
it's at.
Not very fun. Well,
No.
not very fun to do the drive. Not very fun to drop people off at LAX.
It's a good point. It's a good point. My biggest thing now, and we were talking about this last week when news kind of came out about, like, Tom was painting that picture on Howie Mandel's podcast of like the relationship being done. I know that this is such a weird, messy timeline just because of reality TV, like when it's filmed and when we're seeing them in real life versus what's going on the show. But something tells me with this, I'm all about getting back out there, doing your thing, next, move on from the relationship. But something feels like I don't feel as much sympathy as I did for Ariana a month ago. That I'm kind of like, okay, how long did you know about this? Were you doing that to kind of feel like the victim when in reality you knew the cheating was going on and you've healed much longer before this? That's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it is possible. I think maybe she had seen things, maybe did turn a little bit of a blind eye, but also I did let it marinate a little bit. And also, on the Howie Mandel show, I just feel like that also shows how much of a gaslighter he is too. Because like Tom Sandoval. And also rewatching some old episodes, it's like Tom's a really, really good liar. So it makes it hard for me to believe just his side of the story.
Anything.
Like at first I was like, wow, I'm so convinced. Like Ariana totally knew everything.
Yeah.
But then when I started thinking about it, I was like, shit, that's I'm falling for Tom Sandoval.
Okay, that's a really good point because it's almost like if you look at it from an overall holistic picture, who would you believe more in general?
Yeah.
It's probably Ariana.
Yeah.
So you can't really get bogged down or caught up into his narrative of the story. Maybe I'll just like give her more leeway. Even if she did turn a blind eye or know about it, you still have to like her more than Sandoval.
Yeah, I still like her more, but also there is always two sides of the story. People have always said that. Maybe there is a little bit of truth to some of the things he was saying, or maybe not truth, but that is how he truly saw it. Like, I really tried to get out of it, or he is just lying. I mean, I think that there could be some differences. Everyone's not going to tell the story the exact same way. So
I will say I did not think the guy that Ariana hooked up with was that cute, but that's a personal preference.
You weren't vibing with him. That's okay.
Yeah, I know. To each their own. I was just like, I think we can do a little better. First make out afterwards. But whatever. Maybe he's a great guy. But that goes right into other things that happened over the weekend with Raquel and her. Basically, news came out that she was voluntarily going to check into a mental health facility. But it was like she had already made that decision kind of prior to the season ending, all this stuff happening. And the same time, Sandoval wasn't at Coachella, which I would have felt like that was like totally his scene. But obviously if Ariana's going, he's not.
And he probably wants to lay low. He might get like shit thrown at him if he was there.
That's a good point.
That'd be so funny.
So he was supposed to go to Arizona for his own spa getaway weekend.
They're so weird.
At the Mirabal resort.
He's like, I need to go find peace somewhere. I'm gonna go to some spa. I'm like, oh, Tom, just be a better person.
Seriously. And basically, people were trying to put together that Raquel and him were. She wasn't checking into a mental health facility. She was going to meet Tom at a spa, which we can't confirm that was true.
Oh, that's funny.
But people are just coming for anything Raquel does. And then Tom got pissed because the resort put out an Instagram that he was gonna be there, and Tom's like, I'm coming there for peace, and you guys are interrupting that peace, and this is bullshit. So
yeah, they posted like something up at their bar, and then the caption was the theme song to Vanderpump.
Yeah,
and then he reposted that exact thing. Yeah, I got really mad at them.
Yeah. I mean, I get it to some degree, right? Like you said, two sides to every story. But at the same time, when you're somebody that legitimately does promos for a living, Tom Sandoval, it's like, I don't know that they didn't think that the right thing to do was to post that you're going to be there. Yeah. And for the first time ever, we're talking about a resort on this podcast. So I think it's kind of working.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like he blew it up even more. I feel like we wouldn't have talked about it if you wouldn't have posted about it.
He didn't care.
Now we're talking about it again.
Now we know.
Yeah.
And then with Raquel allegedly like wanting to check into the mental health facility prior to all of this stuff getting exposed in March, we were kind of talking about, but she was like, I'm not going to do it yet because I have obligations to the show and the producer. It's like,
right.
Okay. But then it's almost like, I think about how long the cheating may have potentially been going on, the different timelines, and maybe the amount of anguish and stress that was bringing on, that she's like, I can't deal with this. I gotta because I mean, everybody knows like if you're like keeping secrets and stuff like that, it's not good for your mental well-being.
Not good for your mental health. No. Yeah. Because at first I was like, why would she go before? But then you brought it up. You're like, she's probably so anxious with all the stuff she was holding in. Like, yeah, it's a good point.
Her PR team is working wonders right now. Just like I saw the note that she put out about that, and I was like, it was spun well. It was just like about like drawing lines on emotional boundaries and kind of like being a serial dater and like always needing someone. And I was kind of like, well, then break up with Tom, or like you shouldn't have been, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they're trying to paint it like, hey, I have a problem almost, and maybe this is part of the problem is I need to go get help, which I could see.
Good for her.
Yeah. So we'll see what ends up happening there. That's all ongoing with the reunion happening. I mean, it's coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Still soon. We still have some episodes to finish. So
still some episodes
hold on tight, guys.
Seriously. But that wasn't the weirdest couple update that like has been going on, and I should have referenced this when we were talking about Kendall Jenner.
Yeah.
But Kylie
so weird.
and Timothy Chalamet have sparked, I will not say that they're together because they're not, like rumors, and kind of like sources have said they're having fun. The classic.
They're having a casual romance.
Yes.
Is what E.T. said.
I wish I could put out more statements about my love life, like
just start doing it.
Yeah, like maybe I should, like tweet out like it's a casual romance, guys, like nothing serious yet.
And then starts to get serious. This situationship, I'm really starting to feel.
Yeah.
DTR. Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. We very briefly brought it up last week, I feel like, or at least we were thinking about it and we talked about it, but I didn't believe it. I was like, there's just no way. Like, they don't really run in similar circles. I was just like, when could they have met? Apparently, Kendall and Timothy are friendly, so that's
I
kind
knew
of
that.
How,
yeah.
See, I guess I just completely forgot about that because I was just like, it just felt so random to me. I just didn't see them ever jiving together. But then we got there was photos of them, or not photos of them. There was photos of Kylie's car outside Timothy's house on Thursday.
In LA.
In LA, Beverly Hills. She brought one of her older cars, but also like paparazzi knows those plates even more. If anything, it would have been smarter to bring one of her new cars, new plates. Yeah. Paparazzi isn't familiar with them as much, but instantly noticed her Range Rover in his driveway. And then the report even said like, oh, she drove right up there, put in like she was in there easily, like she'd been there before. Okay. Again, don't really know that.
It's as easy as texting the person like, hey, the code is.
Hey, code is this. Come right up.
Yeah, exactly. She knows.
Although our place is very hard to get into, so I feel like maybe people
if
would
you do it with confidence, you know.
Yeah.
But we live in a complex,
Yeah. So maybe they drove up together.
Could be.
To Coachella. I don't know, but they weren't
spotted at Coachella together.
Exactly. Yeah. There weren't photos of them at Coachella, so
who knows?
Who knows?
The thing for me that's really throwing me off is that like I knew that Kendall and Timothy like had been kind of in that weird friend group, I feel like. It's almost like, and this isn't right or wrong, but it's like Kendall's kind of in, like she's a model Like first and foremost, like that's kind of her like thing or niche or, you know, how she like whatever. And like, I kind of think of Timothée Chalamet in more of like a New York setting than like an LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kylie for me had always been more like LA. Like she like you, I don't remember the last time that I really saw her like out with friends. And like, I don't know, like they just seem so not
They just
compatible.
don't seem like their lives would like go together. But
Completely.
I guess we don't really know.
We don't know them.
We don't know their personalities super well.
It's a good point. Also, at the same time, could you see?
Because I still feel like Kylie's still pretty private, honestly.
Completely. Also, Timothée Chalamet still looks like he's a freshman in college. Is he going to be a father to?
I know he's going to be a new stepdaddy. Stepdaddy.
Oh my gosh. I also think too, we haven't really seen a whole lot of backlash yet, but I just feel like his fandom, like is
not going to be.
Doesn't also follow Kylie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're like not the same people at all.
It's kind of like how Harry Styles fans just hate anybody they ever dates. So I wonder if that's how they're going to be when Timothy and Kylie get a little bit more serious, if it does happen.
I feel like it, but like also, I feel like everything with Timothée Chalamet is everything is a fling. Everything is a fleeting moment of like one photo.
He dated Isa Gonzalez, which is who Liam Hemsworth cheated on Miley Cyrus with. Lily Rose Depp.
Those photos like on the boat, like that was probably the most public thing I feel like we've seen of his stuff.
I just don't think I keep up with like, I don't know. I just don't really keep up with him very much. I realized
he's like hard to pin down.
He's a talented actor, but
stays private. Maybe that's where they
bond.
Are compatible. Okay. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Like you said, right now it's just like rumors. It's a friendly, casual relation or romance, right? Like you said. Okay, sorry. Today is super weird. Like these stories literally are just bizarre. But this one is kind of my favorite of the weekend. Okay, so Jessie James Decker, who's married to Eric Decker, and she's her country music singer herself. They have 3 kids. I feel like now she's kind of turned into more of like a personality, like being a mom and like, cookbooks, stuff like that. But then her sister is dating an MLB player and equally has some, internet fame, just, as a personality and influencer. But over the weekend, Jessie James Decker took to Instagram Live, Instagram Stories, and was like, my sister, who has 2 kids, is 22 weeks pregnant, was forced by United Airlines to clean popcorn up off the floor of her flight. Yeah. And she was outraged or upset.
Yeah.
Can you jump in? Because it's...
Dang it. I wanted you to give your opinion first. I would be absolutely outraged. No, I thought it was really weird because I was like, what is a flight attendant do? Like, get down on your knees and pick up every single piece of popcorn. Like, as I was reading it, I was like, forced her to the... Did she get her down onto the ground to pick up every single piece of popcorn? Also, the popcorn was given to them through United Airlines.
That's what they're saying,
The kids did not bring this and go flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, clean up your... I don't get why it's such a big deal to clean it up, though. Like, why was she, like, so outraged to clean up after yourself? Like, they go around with their bags.
Yeah.
If you got any trash, please do it.
Yeah.
And if my kids were making a mess, I'd be like, that's it on the popcorn. No more for you. You can eat this little snack that's a little bit easier to eat. Like, I get it. She was traveling by herself. 2 kids can be a ruckus sometimes. But, like... Get it together. Sometimes when I go on planes and all I hear is screaming, crying babies, I'm like, keep them at home. I don't want to deal with this right now.
I think everything you're saying, I feel the exact same way. Like you said, number one, I cannot picture a person literally like forcing someone to the ground, like, you're going to pick it all up. Like that is hilarious.
She said like every crumb, like, oh.
I need somebody to corroborate that story because I just need to see an interaction.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is like you said, like if it's almost like within reason. If your kid made a gigantic mess, it's kind of like you're not just gonna like sit in it and leave it.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's a couple crumbs, it's like
that's fine.
It's almost like scrape it under the seat.
Yeah.
It
was all over the seat though, like all under the seat. The photos were actually it was a lot of popcorn.
That's where it's like you said your kid.
I'd be embarrassed. I'd be like, I want to pick this up because it's like, wow,
Jesus.
My kids did this. I'm embarrassed.
I completely agree. So I'm I think this story is hilarious, and I feel like it's just so bizarre. It doesn't make me hate anybody more or love anybody more. It's just kind of like, hey, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, don't tweet about it.
This
like, I don't
isn't
know.
something, to be like, come on, fans, like, get pissed off with me. And I don't think people were. I think they were just confused. Like, why are you posting about this?
Because half people were like, yeah, control your kids. And half people were like, oh my God, like United Airlines. It's like,
if she wouldn't have been pregnant, this would be like the most pretentious,
issue.
like, first world
Privileged,
problems.
yeah.
Like, what are you even saying? The only reason that it's kind of like, okay, that kind of sucks. She had to get down on her knees and pick shit up because she's pregnant. But like, I'm sure pregnant people do a lot of things.
I'm sure they do.
Right?
I've never seen one. I don't know.
Right, like a pregnant person like can't do anything.
And I also think this isn't funny, but at the same time, it's very funny, is that she was crying.
No. This last kernel, my fingers are tired.
Like, come on, girl. Hold it together.
Or if you're like pregnant and in pain, like, sir, I'm really sorry. I'm really pregnant. I'm having a rough pregnancy. My kids are being annoying.
You want my kids? Can you take my kids?
And you just ask, like, can you help me clean this up?
Yeah.
I bet you there would have been a very kind person who had been willing to help.
Yeah.
Or just tell the flight attendant, I'm having a tough pregnancy. Like, can you help me too? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, there were so many other ways to go about this instead of crying on the ground and having your sister Insta story this.
So funny. And then also today or recently, the sister posted a picture with her kid in a bag of skinny
With the
pop,
skinny-
like, ha ha ha, like making light of this terrible situation. It's like, no one care. I don't know. Like, no one cares. Like,
That
what?
was also cringy. It was like, that's because you got a lot of shade and now you're like, LOL, I'm kidding. I forgot.
Not that serious.
I forgot who did that recently, but we talked about it. It's like they made some random joke about it, and it's like, oh, because they realized how awkward it is, and then they want to kind of like take it back and be like, I was just kidding. Oh,
was
Anna
that-
Marie Tendler.
So I was gonna say what was she?
When she was talking about Taylor Swift, and she was like, I was totally being,
like, this is my set.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
She said that Taylor Swift had stolen her image and likeness of one of her portraits.
Yeah, it's like, what? No,
She's
just
like, oh,
kidding.
just kidding. Why would I ever go against Taylor Swift?
It's like, okay, right.
Yeah,
So
interesting story.
These are all bizarre.
I hope her pregnancy goes well. I hope those kids get under control, and I hope they have a happy life.
I hope United stops giving out popcorn. Damn it.
Popcorn actually is really messy. I feel like I'm always like, oh.
Okay, soundbite.
And if you are a type of person that only eats one at a time, red flag.
Red flag. Yeah, no, there's no way.
Do you do
No way.
what?
No, I don't eat one. at a
You
time.
okay?
No, I'm good. Like when you're like watching the movie that's provided on the thing, you're like,
Yeah.
come on.
Well, that's what somebody said. They were like, it's a movie theater. They should just let them leave all their trash. And I was like, are you?
Do you do that on the plane? No.
Do you do that in a movie theater?
No.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of popcorn on the ground.
But that's movie theater is very like half 50-50.
Yeah.
Some people do that.
Yeah.
I'm always like hey, throw your trash away.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, somebody has to come through and go do that later.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just creating more work for somebody.
Yeah.
Just be a good person.
And it can be easy.
Just deal with your kids.
Get your kids together.
Dang it. Speaking of
Kids?
not speaking of kids, in a more serious note, kind of speaking of kids, over the weekend as well, I'm telling you, all these stories are so bizarre. Drake Bell was reported missing. And the funniest part of this story is that Scarlett texted me from Coachella.
No, I think it was Thursday because I worked that day.
Okay, it was Thursday.
Yeah.
Texted me like 8 a.m. in the morning and is like, Drake Bell is missing.
He's gone.
And I don't know why I prompted this back. I just laughed. I said, ha, what?
Dennis's response, ha!
I kind of didn't believe it. Like, I was kind of like,
It's also you in a nutshell, though.
yeah, seriously. Also, the hilarity of it being in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
What's going on down there?
Yeah. So the Daytona Beach police posted on their Instagram
Yeah.
a photo of Drake Bell, man missing, last seen in front of a high school. All this information about his car. A little bit before 9:30 p.m. was when he was last seen. And instantly people are commenting on the post like, that's Drake Bell, that's Drake Bell, that's Drake Bell.
Yeah.
So then obviously outlets started picking up that Drake Bell is now missing. A month before, he he was not caught. Is huffing legal? I don't know. But he was huffing in his car with a toddler, with his kid.
Oh, like
so like
a
there was
balloon or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not
I don't know how we huff.
I'm not familiar with it. But
I'll
it
read
was
up.
that is what Aaron Carter was doing. So like I definitely don't think it's a good thing.
No.
So he was doing that. So some people think like there was rumors maybe like was he huffing, like passed away even. So everything, like the internet was kind of going crazy and freaking out of like where is he, and worried about his safety.
Mm-hmm. And then like it really wasn't that long later, was it?
I think it was maybe 3 hours. It was definitely within the workday.
Also, the thing that was weird about this was
that he was found.
Was weird was that like I didn't so him and the person that he shares his daughter with, who's 2, are separated, I believe.
Yeah.
So that kind of scares me in general, that, and I think that the child might have been with him.
Oh.
Or in his...
When he was found?
In his care.
Okay.
Not when he was found, but like that part was kind of scary to me. Because I knew that he had a kid.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know that they were like separated to that degree.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, number 1... I'm scared for your child. Number 2, when he came back and we found him, he had this very, what was it, a tweet? Something like that. That was basically like, okay, what? So like, this is what happens now when you turn your phone off and leave it in the car.
Yeah.
It's like, when was the last time in your life? I totally understand disconnecting, like from social media or from anything like that. But if you're leaving your phone in the car and not telling anybody where you're at, you're doing sketchy shit.
That's concerning.
You're doing sketchy stuff.
That's not just you checking out for a little bit. That's going off the grid on purpose almost.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's way different than telling someone, hey, there's people that like go on like long bike rides or hikes. And it's like, hey, I'm going to be here. If I don't text you back in 2 hours, come look for me.
Yeah. And I've had friends be like, I'm just going to try not to be on my phone this much this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Totally. Normal.
Also, as a father, at 9:30 p.m., phone strapped. Keep that phone on you, bro.
Yeah.
That's a weird time to be like, oh, I'm away from my phone. If you're in the morning, like I said, like you're going to go swimming in the ocean or something like that, it's like, okay, I won't be answering for an hour or 2. But like 9:30 p.m., red flag.
Well, yeah, I do think if you are a dad or a parent, like you should be available.
Yeah.
For especially like what if she was trying to get a hold of him, concerned about the kid, or had to share something about his child. So who knows? Super
odd stuff there. Like I said, past weekend.
Good he's safe.
Yeah.
And people were like wondering, like, is he in Mexico again? Because remember, he did his little stint there.
Oh my gosh.
He just recently got off probation for his child endangerment charge that he pled guilty to for talking to a minor. So he's definitely been caught up in a lot of drama. So I feel like, and filed for bankruptcy a few years ago, his DUI arrest back in 2015. So like he's had some troubles over the past however many years that may be. So I think the fact that he went missing was like instantly a concern, which is why I think people maybe like took it to the worst possible option, where like, if somebody doesn't really answer for 3 hours, it doesn't really necessarily mean they're dead. Yeah. But no, he's not.
But given his history,
he's okay. Yeah,
completely. So who knows? We'll have to wait until the next time that he does something kind of sketchy and scary, I feel like. In more like bittersweet news, this past weekend was Ryan Seacrest's last episode on the Kelly and Ryan show.
Yeah.
Which I would like to say I don't watch a lot, but when I'm back home and I work West Coast hours, so like that would be, I don't work until later, like 11 a.m. when we're back home in St. Louis. Kelly and Ryan comes on like right after the Today Show. Okay. So like I would catch like the beginnings of it. So I feel like I'm a little bit, I kind of know like what that show's like.
Yeah.
I don't really know why Ryan, I think the big thing with him was that he was doing legitimately that show in New York. And then he was also, I think he still does American Idol.
He still does American Idol, and he still has his radio show.
And I think he was like getting burnt out on going back and forth between things, like always having to be in New York for...
He's definitely mainly New York based though.
Yeah.
Because he'd sold his house recently. I just think he does so much and he doesn't really need to.
No.
And also he has a huge interest in starting his olive oil company. So he's been focusing a lot on that. Yeah. Like putting it out into like competitions and everything.
Man, the life.
So, I mean, I think that once you've reached that, I mean, he can go into
do whatever
venture he wants to. So... Yeah. And he's still doing American Idol. I think he honestly kind of wants to retire. It's not like retire.
Yeah.
He didn't call this a retirement, but yeah,
maybe a slow
retirement.
And then the person that's going to replace him on the show,
or did replace him now,
is Kelly Ripa's husband, Mark Consuelos, right?
Yes.
Who's like been on Riverdale for a long time, and then obviously,
oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and he's like been in a bunch of other stuff throughout his career.
Yeah.
They're a little bit scary on the internet, so I think that will look a little interesting in a work dynamic.
Yeah. I just think I don't know. I think it's a little bit cringy. Like, let's just get husband. Like, this is not Amy Robach and TJ Holmes. That's a little bit spicy, you know?
But like, that's what they do on the internet. Like, they like try and be that couple that's like, yeah, like, we still have sexy time and our kids hate it.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's like, hey, like, we're good.
We
it's okay.
Don't need that.
I'm glad that your marriage is alive and well. You don't need to be that couple.
Right. Because it premiered on Monday, and a lot of people already don't like it. And then Tuesday didn't go as well either. So
people
we'll see.
Love Ryan.
I think they do. It's hard. People liked Kelly and Ryan. But just Kelly.
I don't know. I just feel like Ryan, like people grew up, somebody was saying this the other day, people grew up on American Idol.
They did.
Like I remember like that was a family show.
Absolutely.
Like your whole family would be like eating dinner or whatever and be like,
watching
who
Kelly
is going to go?
Belt out. Yeah.
Exactly. And so he kind of like came up at that time and he was just like everywhere.
He really is just an amazing host. Yeah, he's really great.
So I think it'll take time.
I hope, yeah.
But I think it will work out. It's just like anytime that there's change, it's just people
struggle with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Other than that I think wraps up the bizarre, shocking news of this past week.
It was definitely an interesting one.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Plain Telephone, on TikTok at Plain Telephone, and then full episodes on YouTube at Plain Telephone.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.